peaceful life. This project
Республіки Німеччина.
organized together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Germany. For the third year, Ukraine fights on the three fronts, and sometimes people say that Ukraine loses in culture because of the war in the East. And there is question whether the situation in the East is related to its peripheric position to the rest of Ukraine. And in order to improve the situation, Maksym Potapchuk and Oleksandra Papina and Oksana Profsilkova and Oksana Pilipets have organized a literary competition of contemporary Ukrainian literature called KalmiYouth. Today we have via Skype organizers of this contest, Maksym Potapchuk, Oleksandra Papina, and Oleksandr Muravlov, activist from FINA NGO. Can you hear me well? Good morning. Can you hear me well? We are going to have a 20-minute conversation. Please keep the pace and not very quick because we have a translation. Could you tell, please, what is this context and why you choose such a title for it? In April last year, we organized this contest for the first time. KalmiYouth is going to become a regular competition. The participants were 16 years old and older, and they participated in the various literary genres. The competition was held in Dnipropetrovsk, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia regions, and IDPs from all the territory of Ukraine could participate as well. We decided to take a KalmiYouth name because KalmiYouth is a river in the east of Ukraine that falls into Azov Sea, and earlier our researchers found out that it was the main way for the Cossacks to the Azov Sea and then to the Black Sea. And until 2008, in Donetsk, there was a civil initiative, a chronicle where various Ukrainian writers, where the Ukrainian literature was printed. Unfortunately, the local authorities did not support this chronicle, and it existed only for volunteers' cause. It was spread on the central of the on the territory of central Ukraine and western Ukraine. Could you tell, please, when you opened the competition and how many applications did you receive? On the 6th of July 2016, we opened the competition, and on October 15, we closed it. We received a great amount of works. They were all in Ukrainian. We received over 2,000 works from small villages, small towns, from people who have never published their poetry, their novels. And we have works from 5 regions. Some of them are from Kostiantynivka in Donetsk region, from Dobropilya in Donetsk region, from Kramatorsk. Some winners are from Mariupol and people from Nikopol, Dnipropetrovsk region, from Kharkiv region. What is really interesting that the most active were participants from Volnovakha regions. We also had 50 applications from the occupied territories, and there are winners from Donetsk. The winner managed to come to a final awarding. She was not afraid, despite the fact that she wrote in Ukrainian. I heard there were over 2,000 works. Do you have statistics? How many works were there from various regions, and how many IDPs submitted their works? Yes, we have such information. There were many. Most of them were from Donetsk and Kharkiv region. The difference is not really important, but Donetsk and Kharkiv regions are ahead. How many works of IDPs did you receive? Nearly 10%. How many works came to a final competition? There were 227 works. We had a very experienced jury from the territory of all Ukraine. Lex Solovey, Denis Kazansky, Andrusiak, Dara Koroni, and many others. In total, 26 jury members who participated there as volunteers to help these young writers. In the very beginning, we mentioned that the competition was in Ukrainian only, but perhaps some people sent works in Russian. What were you doing if you received such works? We offered them volunteer translators who simply translated the works into Ukrainian, and then they could participate in this competition as well. And till now, I remember a work from Chernivtsi, a work of our IDP and one more IDP from Odessa region. They sent their works in Russian, and these works were translated. People were very glad that they had such an opportunity. What is interesting that authors whose works have been translated into Ukrainian then started trying to write in Ukrainian. It was kind of motivation for them. Could you clarify, please, what regions could participate in the competition? I heard about Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, and so on, and here you mentioned Odessa region as well. I mean that IDPs could participate independently on where exactly they live in Ukraine. How many nominations were there, and how many winners are there in every nomination? We had 7 nominations: poetry, prose, publications, drama, and Sasha will give you more details on that. Maksym has mentioned we had 7 nominations for children and for adults, prose for children and for adults, and the same for the poetry and for drama. Only publications were for adults only. We had 3 winners in every nomination, so in general there are 21. And at the awarding ceremony, we had people who didn't win the competition, but they received special awards from jury members, or from Angelika Rudnitska, or from Daria Koroni, a girl from Kharkiv who won in the Children's Prose nomination, received a personal gift from her and a proposition to publish her work. So she now has a proposal to print her work. And a winner from Kramatorsk, Oleynik Oleksandra, has signed a contract with Karmali Edition, and his novel Dennis Book will be published. What is really interesting that the editor said that he won't make any corrections in his work because the level is very high. There is nothing to correct there. So there were winners, and there were people who did not win, but they received special awards, right? So once again, what the winners received or for their victory? They received special awards from organization committee, certificates, I mean, and gifts from jury members. But the most important present will be in the end of the year. There will be Chronicle KalmiYouth, and all the winners will be published there. This chronicle appears every year. It will appear in two volumes, the works of the children and of the adults. I heard that there will be a short that short videos will be made with every participant. Is it right? Unfortunately, we ran out of money for this, and we had problems with English translation. No, because we had to spend money for presentation of our writers in European countries. We have preliminary agreements, and we want to present the works of our writers from the East there in Europe. Oleksandra Papina is in the right of you. Alexa, tell us, please, what was your contribution to the contest? I am from Crimea Speaking Club, and we helped a little bit. We have locations in libraries. Unfortunately, our our colleagues speak Ukrainian with children, with adults, just to socialize them, and they help to. What is interesting in these competitions is it was not simply a literary competition, but a lot of artists came and they met adults and children in various libraries in Kramatorsk, and they not only said something about them or read their works, but they also communicated with people. There were literary workshops on October 11th and 12th, November. It was the final stage of competition in Kramatorsk, and the 220 writers from the whole country came to us. And during 2 days, we had plenty of events, a real holiday of literature in Kramatorsk. We had also locations in Slovyansk, in Konstantinivka, in Drushkivka. People were very interested in acting master classes and literary master classes. There were over 7,000 hosts in general. This is an incredible number. Parents asked the actors and writers to come once again because there is lack of such specialists in Kramatorsk. Before that, people could come to Donetsk and Lugansk for master classes, but now a lot of writers left those occupied territories and left Lugansk and Donetsk regions, and there is a lack of such professionals. Could you remind who were partners and sponsors of the festival? Our financial partners were USAID, and this is thanks to their support that we organized the competition. Then we had Territory A and the Med plant, well known in Kramatorsk, then NGO Vilna Khata, and Blast organization from Kramatorsk. This is also Center for Cooperation and Development, French Association from Paris, a book promoter Tatiana Kolobets, and many other organizations. This contest is what is unique in this contest is that nearly 50 NGOs united their efforts to organize this holiday, and we already have plans for the following year. USAID provided us funds for all these. They paid for logistics, for food, for location of the participants, and 2 theaters came there as well. I wanted to add that when we were developing the concept of the final competition, and when we thought what the main message should be in this literary contest, we decided to show to the whole Ukraine and to local people that Kramatorsk in Donetsk, Kharkiv, Lugansk regions, because the problems are familiar everywhere, that this East is Ukraine and there is no difference between local people and people in Kiev. So we wanted to invite to these final competitions many famous people, writers, scientists, and so on, those who had to leave these regions for various regions, and I guess we succeeded in that. For example, the theater from Lviv came to us. We choose them because after the war started, Zhiki theater left Donetsk region and then joined that theater in Lviv. And now they came back and brought performance Zernoshoviще, and they also presented a mono performance Ivanka's Memories, directed by director of Zhiki theater that had to leave Donetsk. The people were very impressed. Not only actors and we, the organizers, we did not expect such a success. All the topics, all the issues that the performance have raised were rather difficult, and we were afraid that there would be difficulties, but everything was okay. Then during the final stage of the holiday, we invited Vakarchuk and writers from Lviv, who created a platform for discussions to speak on the project, on the problems that we currently face. This has already been discussed in Lviv and in Kiev, but not there in the East. But it is important. This is a problem for the whole Ukraine, but it should be discussed in the East with the local people as well. I think that we succeeded because people shared their thoughts about the events in the social networks, and we found out that they were really excited about all that. And Lugansk Regional Philharmonic came, and Sestry Telnyuk, these are musicians, well-known musicians in Ukraine. So there was the whole was plenty of people. We understood that we really need more such events in the future. As Olena said, this is a powerful tool of deoccupation in the east of Ukraine. And this is a good example to our regional structures who work on the issues of culture. We had over 2,000 locations during these 2 days. But 3 volunteers managed to organize all this. Well, four volunteers and nearly 50 NGOs in general. What are your plans for the future? It was the first such competition this year, and I hope you will continue it. Yes, we have such plans. And next year we are going to make one more competition, and the main idea is to create a platform for all Ukrainian discussion. This year we hosted artists and writers from everywhere who understand this problem, who have their proposals on what should be done. But next year we want to invite people who have a slightly different point of views, but they are Ukrainians. For example, Oksana Zabushko. So people who wouldn't feel so comfortable in this environment. So we want to make such an attempt, and we started work on this to have enough support in the next year. I have no more questions. Thank you. Maybe you have any final remarks or questions here. Yes, my colleague has a question. Good morning. This is Sergei Malarchuk from Ukraine Crisis Media Center. Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate you with such great success. We have always waited for such an initiative in the East. And my question is, as it was a very important event where a lot of writers participated, did you have idea to make two competitions, one for the children and one for the adults, and to specify the nominations? We haven't thought of that because the authors are adult, and these two types, children's literature and adult literature, is just for the reader. At present, we see no real possibility to make two separate events. Do you think this is necessary separately for children writers and adult writers? Maybe yes, if we take the experience of Publishers Forum in Lviv, they make such separation, but at present we have no physical or financial possibility to make two separate events. In addition, we have a dream to cooperate with the regional state administration. We have addressed there many times. We addressed to Mr. Zhibrivsky and asked him to join more contemporary initiatives and to start doing something together with NGOs. If we have no more questions, thank you, colleagues. Thank you for your time, and I hope see you soon via Skype or in our student keep. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Dear colleagues, the next event in the framework of Spokesperson of Peaceful Life will be on Tuesday on the same time. Goodbye.